unless that hits
Hi,
that way.
everybody.
Okay.
This is Mac. I wanted to introduce you and let you get to know him because we're going to be traveling together quite a bit. And he's a character, a good sense of humor. He's full of stories, just like me, and we get along really well.
We do have fun.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of stories. We come from different backgrounds. You grew up in a peninsula of Florida. I grew up in the peninsula of southern Michigan. I was a farm boy, and you come from a fishing family.
Mm-hmm.
Did the usual farm boy stuff. Drove tractors, picked corn, plowed fields, milked a cow twice a day with my younger brother helping. We took turns, and we lived off the land. And as I got out of high school, went in the military for 3 years, and then lived in Lansing, worked in a factory, and put in 30 years there. And after a while, I decided to start traveling, and I've been a nomad part-time and now full-time for about 5 years now. And I have seen a lot, and I've camped a lot of BLM, and it's worked out real good. I'm enjoying it. And so I met you along the way, and we do share things easily.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy your friendship.
Thank you. Likewise. So you worked for General Motors, right?
Yes, I built automobiles. And I was fortunate. I did a lot of different jobs in that plant, and finally just retired and started traveling. But I am fortunate. I have a pension and Social Security, which gives me the ability to do pretty much whatever I want out here. And I like traveling. I like seeing museums and visiting the national monuments. So it's a great life. I enjoy it.
I too live off of Social Security, and I have a small pension, and worked in the same field throughout my career in mental health. I didn't know how I was going to travel because even though I've got a pension, it wasn't much. I had this dream of traveling, and I just didn't know how I was going to do it. So about a year before retirement, I started doing the research. I Googled travel on a dime, and of course Bob Wells popped up, and I watched all of his videos and then branched out and watched more. How did you come to it?
I had a friend in Lansing, Michigan, that showed me his latest adventures, which was taking a tent into a place called Craggy Wash, which is in just north of Lake Havasu City, Arizona. And he said, well, you camp there free because you go in there and it's 14 days free and then you have to move. And he was also a kayaker. We call him Kayak John. And
Is he still traveling?
He's still traveling. He has one hard shell kayak and two inflatables. He takes them everywhere.
And you have two inflatables.
I have two inflatables now. And we used to kayak together in mid-Michigan on lakes or on the rivers. And I used a hard shell kayak, but I saw his inflatable and I ordered it, and I have two inflatable kayaks now. They fit in a tub with the pump and the life vest in a bin that fits right under my bed in my Chrysler minivan. So now I have two bins with two kayaks, one in each. And that means I can take someone with me now instead of having to find someone that I can go with for safety reasons. I don't want to go out by myself necessarily. I could, and many people do. I usually kayak in Lake Havasu City along the channel, goes under the London Bridge, or with friends, I kayak in Squaw Lake near Yuma and out onto the Colorado River, which has quite a stiff flow. You have to kind of paddle to get back upstream. It's not that hard. And it's great exercise. So those are some of the adventures I have. I just wish I had a mountain bike with me. Mine is in a storage unit north of Lansing, Michigan. I don't have to be anywhere at any time in particular, so I have learned to take it a day at a time, go with the flow. Easy does it. And
how long did it take you to get to that point?
A good year. The first year I was wanting to see everything. I wanted to go to the national parks, and I was lucky to stay 7 days in any one spot.
In the 4 years that I've been on the road, I've moved at least every 2 weeks, and sometimes more often, depending on whether I liked the location or not. Recently, I stayed a little bit longer. I was at the Grand Canyon, and I absolutely loved it. And I worried that I was breaking the rules.
I think with the COVID, the rangers just hunkered down. They just stopped doing their jobs because the problems, the ramifications of dealing with the COVID,
right?
They just didn't pay much attention. Now they are starting to get back into their full force and starting forcing the 14-day stay. I've been hearing stories about that.
Yeah. I've been hearing some really negative things about residential camping. In other words, setting up as if you're a resident of that area and then trashing it. That's the really bad part. We went out yesterday, as a matter of fact, looking for fishing spots. Came across a really beautiful area to camp, and there was glass all over the place, and we would have to clean it up if and when we camped there. I know I'm going back because I just thought it was gorgeous, and so I do want to. And it's by water, which is not easy to find in the desert. It was oasis-like. Really liked it.
Unfortunately, there has been some reports that people have left junk in the National Forest Service, trash. They didn't pick up after themselves. Now, there's a whole lot of boondockers and campers, nomads, that will go in and clean it up. They get together and they clean up the forest. Yep. Especially along the Colorado River.
And it's not easy to, when you're in a minivan, an SUV, it's not easy to haul somebody else's trash.
That's for sure.
Yes, yeah.
And you're taking a risk of messing up your vehicle to move their mess.
Yes.
And I've been there, done that.
Max mentioned his vehicle. He said he called it a minivan, and I have an SUV. I think it's about as big as his minivan, except that his side doors open differently than mine. Is that right? Yours?
Yeah. Mine are sliding doors. It's Chrysler Town and Country van, and they call it a station wagon, I think, on the title. And the doors slide open. It's comfy. I'm 5'7.5", and you can fit a 4x8 sheet of plywood flat on the floor in this van. That's amazing. It would fit, but it does. So I have plenty of storage room along the tailgate, electronics, food, clothing. So it gives me enough room to store things. And someone asked me, told me, you can't stand up. I said, yeah, I know. I'm only in it when it gets dark. I crawl in there. I sit there. I get myself situated. I lay down with my phone on my bed. So it's not like I need to stand up. Yeah, I sleep in it. In the morning, I kind of crouch over, bend over, put my pants on, and get my shirt, my shoes, and then I get outside and I start my day. And I'm outdoors. The saying is I'm not living in a van, I'm living out of a van, because I'm outdoors all the time. And it's like when I'm driving somewhere or at night when it gets real close to darkness, I get in there and just stay in there until I wake up in the morning, and I start my day again.
I'm 5'1", barely, and so I can sit up when I'm sitting in my bed. And there are my head hits the ceiling, but I do have one other seated area besides the driver's seat that I can sit in and not have my head hit the ceiling. I'm comfortable in there. I don't have to set up a tent or anything if I don't want to, although I carry that on my roof, which is bringing us to city dwelling. If you're a city dweller, you don't set up a tent. I can cook inside. I have a porta potty inside, and so anything I need to do in a regular stick and brick, I can do inside my small space, and I'm quite comfortable in there. Max and I have been mostly traveling and going to the national forest, going to BLM land, and generally it's pretty far away from a city. We've had a change of heart recently. Both of us, at about the same time, have decided that we really enjoy being close to the city. So we have Boondock, Cracker Barrel, and
Love's Truck Stop.
Love's, Walmart, rest areas, just any place that we can find that is really near a city. Even BLM land, you can find BLM land that is really close to a city.
And the main thing about city dwelling is you're close to all the facilities. Mm-hmm. There's things to do in the city: libraries, museums, city parks. You can walk, nice walkways. I like paved walkways quite well because you're not maneuvering over rocks and sticks and things like that. And you can just get a nice stride going and put in a mile walk fairly easily. And that's one of my main sources of exercise.
Mine too.
Is walking. Mm-hmm. And if I can get from walking to kayaking, it's kind of a balance. And that's my goal.
And Yuma offers all of that. Yuma has 3 libraries, several parks, and what else? Restaurants. Oh my goodness, restaurants.
And 2 Planet Fitnesses.
And 2 Planet Fitnesses, yep. So I had sushi last night, and what did you have? I went to a sushi restaurant, and you went to...
I'm a veteran, so I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and they gave me a free dinner of barbecue chicken and fries with a pop.
Very good. Oh, yeah.
Free.
Yes. And then speaking of inexpensive meals, both of us have been going to the Yuma North End Community Center, where the suggested donation is $2 and a well-balanced meal. In fact, if you go to a regular restaurant, you're probably not going to eat as balanced as you should. Right. At least I haven't been. But one of the things that I have discovered is that by city dwelling, I get to taste a little of the culture in the local areas. And that is something that I haven't been doing. I will travel from national forest to national forest all over the United States and admire the landscape, but not the culture, not the people. And so that is something that now I want to do. I'm interested in that. We both are introverts, but we are not shy. So we talk to people, and that is a pleasure, just getting to know the locals.
That's what I like. Everywhere you go, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. We can stand there. We can look at the terrain as sagebrush, gravel, chunks of stone, and I say, isn't that beautiful? It is, no matter where you go.
I think I went to Colorado for the first time this year, and I had been there before, but not as a traveler. I climbed Pikes Peak in a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So that was it. I really had not seen the countryside, and I cannot tell you, this summer was very special. Even though I got altitude sickness, it didn't matter. It was just beautiful. I feel the same way about South Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho. Nebraska, of all places, I would have never ever thought that Nebraska would be as beautiful as it is. And I could go on and on. The Maine, Maine in the fall. Oh my goodness. So I'm getting to do, and Max is getting to do, what we never dreamed of in our retirement years, to experience such profound beauty. And now the culture, to be able to visit the museums. It's an amazing time of my life.
Here's my thing. When I sit in Michigan in the blizzards, I had a TV, a computer, and a refrigerator. And once I got out on the road, I dropped 25 pounds.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Just like that with the first year. And then I learned to love hiking. I'll usually hike 3 miles, maybe in the morning, go visit friends, a mile and a half there, a mile and a half back. And then later in the day, I'll go another 2 mile hike. And that's, I credit this lifestyle with saving my life, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a great enhancement to my health. I ate differently, and because I lost that weight, and I'm 75 years old. I'm grateful that my health is good. I have regular health checkups, and you do what you need to do, and you have to feel a little bit of that drive to do that. I'm glad I enjoy hiking. Some people enjoy their easy chair with potato chips on their lap and their puppy here, and they fall asleep for a couple hours in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I refused to have an easy chair, a recliner. I did not want one. I felt it would create a lazy streak in me. And so I've always been fortunate that I walk quite a bit. So
I was worried about depression setting in. As a mental health therapist, I had seen a lot of depression, especially in the elderly population. So I knew that I would be vulnerable to it. And I also knew that I love food. I was going to gain weight in retirement, and goodness knows I didn't need to gain any weight. That I did the same as Max did. I immediately lost 20 pounds that first year and felt good, but I've since gained it back. So I need to take care of that. We need to go on walks. I need to go on walks.
you mentioned the depression that can sit in if you're sitting around during the winter months, cooped up in a house, and a lot of people have seasonal affective disorder, SAD, they call it, because you're not getting beta or gamma rays or whatever it is. And out here we have sunshine all the time. And I'm just grateful for that. I think what I experienced was the cabin fever, just aloneness. I lived alone, 30 miles from town, did not want to try driving because there was either an ice storm or blizzards or the deer were running. You took a risk every day you left your house. Out here, there's a donkey here and there or an antelope, but
Elk.
you have to just watch for them, but it's nothing like the Michigan deer herds. So I'm glad I have an upbeat attitude about life in general. I very rarely have what you call depression. I get a blue funk once in a while, but I just think about what I'm grateful for and maybe call a couple friends and we talk and I'm out of it. So I'm glad of that. And I like the fact we meet so many interesting people. I have a friend that escaped from Romania when he was 27 years old.
Oh, I liked him. Yeah.
He has such stories about his life as a child in his 20s. He says all through his 20s until he escaped, every day was a survival. You had to be cautious of everyone you met. You had to watch behind your back. You were always under threat from their government. And so, and then when he escaped, his adventures getting into Russia, Germany, England, and then the United States, where he became a citizen and worked a career in the pharmaceutical industries and retired. And so I camp with him quite a lot.
He has a nice big box truck. Is that what you
He
call it?
converted a FedEx truck
Uh-huh.
into a beautiful
Yep.
living area, and he did his own electronics for his solar system on the roof. It has all of his panels are wired. He has a very nice refrigerator and storage. And then he drives that FedEx bus. He painted it kind of like an army olive drab.
Yep. I was going to
It
say
blends
green.
in with the woods. And so, but he's an easygoing kind of fellow. And I meet other people. People had such wonderful careers and did amazing things, and here they are living out of their vehicles, enjoying life, their retirement a lot of times. And so you'll run into other people there's cases where women especially are running from marriages that were rough and tough. They were abused. They lost jobs when they thought they would have the jobs for a long time. Economically, they've been harmed because of that. And some are traumatized. I call them the walking wounded. But there's many times that they experience the joy of this lifestyle regardless.
Mhm.
And they've found that they can be very self-sufficient.
Mhm.
They cook for themselves. They go to the laundromat. They have friends. We sit around campfires especially. And it's just wonderful. You would think it's a life of drudgery and hardships, but it's not. You don't need much to enjoy a life out here.
So some individuals do come to this lifestyle because they don't have a stick and brick to go to or any form of it, and they are struggling to survive. And what they find is, in most cases, in the cases that I've seen, they begin to thrive, and that is one. And even in myself, I didn't come to this because I was abused or didn't have the finances to live the lifestyle that most people do in the United States. I was an introvert, and yet I had to be next to people that were in the process of healing, and it rubs off after a while. If you have any empathy, then you're going to be affected by it, and I was. And so I needed alone time. That first 4 years that I was out, I needed to go deep into the woods and just heal. And that is what I did. I feel so much better. I feel younger than I did 4 years ago. I feel good about myself, and I feel good about people.
I have friends and family that don't understand my desire to travel and sightsee and live out here. It's like camping, like being a Boy Scout or Girl Scout every day of the year. And I tell them I'm just enjoying this and I'm seeing the country I've always wanted to see. And along the way, I found out that there's a lot of enjoyment. I have a couple of friends that could live with their children. They have like an apartment out back.
Mm-hmm.
They have separate living quarters. They say, Mom or Dad, why don't you come live with us,
That's my children.
And they say, I'm having too much fun.
Yes. Yeah.
I tell my friends and family that on average, I meet a new person every day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's just
Easily.
constant. Easily.
Uh-huh.
Usually they come in twos.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe five. I met five people. They just rolled in. So I try, and I've had the Dale Carnegie course where you learn to remember names,
Mm-hmm.
and through a word association. And I remember their pets' names too.
Oh, wow. Okay, well.
They
Not me.
surprised. A lot of times I know the pets' names before I remember theirs. But I tell people that I do OPDs, other people's dogs. I don't have room in my van to have a little chihuahua and maintain a dog, care for it. And so I enjoy other people's dogs. They get up on my lap and I pet them. I take them for walks because some people don't walk their dogs like they could, but some people are have physical disabilities. They have problems walking, or they don't breathe well enough. So I take their dogs for a walk, and they like that. So
I was actually attacked by a pit bull. So I have a bit of PTSD from that. Even small dogs, I feel like they can read my fear and that they might bite me. But recently, I met a little dog named Buddy. In fact, I remembered his name before I remembered his owner's name, Deborah.
I like Buddy.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Buddy is a little hairy chihuahua. He's got long hair and he's just gorgeous and very, very smart. And it's interesting, I could go into a whole long discussion about having animals with you and what is required to be responsible for them when you're traveling, and can they adapt to the situation of traveling. With Buddy, he was a kennel dog. He was actually a breeder. His owner said that Buddy made more money for him than any other dog that she owned. His new owner, Deborah, says that he travels extremely well. He follows her all over the place. He's not a yapper. I was totally taken back by that. I think what I liked about him most was that he'll come right up to you and he wants to be petted. He's just a loving animal. And to know that he's been raised in a cage, he's 7 years old. For 7 years, he lived in a cage. That is amazing to me. Yeah. But I had a dog when I first started out, and Logan, and then he died about 18 months into, he was already old, but he died about 18 months into our travel. He loved it. But it was a huge responsibility. I couldn't just go into any store. I couldn't leave him in a parking lot, with the windows rolled up or even cracked. I could not do that. In all good consciousness, I just couldn't do it. I had to stop quite a lot to let him relieve himself. And so life when I was traveling in the beginning was all about Logan. It was all about taking care of Logan more than anything else. And seeing all of the new landscape through his eyes. And I appreciated that.
I want to mention what an enjoyable time it is traveling with you. You have a beautiful smile always.
Oh, thank you.
And you've had many
And
life
likewise.
experiences. And like I say, I'm a farm boy up in Michigan. You were down in Florida on boating families, ships, and sea, ocean, Gulf. I didn't start. I started seeing the world when I was in the military for 3 years, but still, after 30 years in a factory, living my life and raising a family, I enjoy this life now as a contrast. And to find someone like you that is pleasant, introverted, you? Really?
You learn to speak, and I did too. I learned to communicate, but I did learn to communicate with my inner world and with nature way before I learned to communicate well with people.
So it's a pleasure. It's just a comfort to have someone that you can talk to and have a trust,
Thank
a
you.
friendship that's can continue. And I'm looking forward to traveling with you more.
Oh, yeah.
We've had a couple plans already about going to San Diego and seeing the Pacific Ocean.
And visiting, I have a brother who died in his early 30s, and he is buried in San Diego in a cemetery that overlooks the Pacific. So it will be my first trip there, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, just so many wonderful things. Every day is a new adventure.
And maybe going up the Pacific Coast Highway. I haven't done
nice.
that yet.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That would be very nice. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to Oregon?
I lived in Washington in Airway Heights, and
So
I was 19 and 20 years old. Yeah.
Well, I hear they have rainforests up there, just like a jungle in Oregon.
Yep.
So I got to be careful how I pronounce Oregon. Oregon, Oregon. I don't know.
I don't either. I don't care. Oregon, Oregon.
Oh, go.
Yep. So one of the other, I just wanted to add about the climate out west, and that has also been very healing to me. I have sinus issues, and I take allergy meds here out west because of the dry air. Not only has it helped my sinuses, but my arthritis is not nearly as bad as it is when I'm out east. Yep. Yeah.
And I too like the dryness, because Michigan for March and April is just nothing but low-hanging scud, gray clouds throwing down cold rain that turns into ice. And there can be an entire month with no recorded sunshine in that state.
Yeah. In Connecticut too. It's just that way.
And I thrive on the sunshine. I embrace it. I embrace the heat. It's better than those cold chills going down my back. Oh my. No way.
I don't like the heat. I like a special kind of heat. It is it's like, imagine yourself out in the Gulf of Mexico or the lower Atlantic, and it's a hot day, the sun is intense, but the water is cold. So the breeze picks up and it hits your skin like soft icicles. It is the best feeling. I love that feeling. Yeah. Especially if you've already got a little tinge of sun on your skin.
Yeah, so it's a great life. I have things to do. Always friends trying to track you down and say, where are you now? We'll be down there in a couple of days, and can you meet us and show us the camping sites? And so that's my afternoon today. A couple of people are coming down from about 100 miles north, and I'm going to show them a place called Fortuna Pond, which is a beautiful lake. What'd you think of that lake I showed you yesterday? The pond.
Oh, yes, that's right here in Yuma.
That's right in town.
Yeah.
About a half mile from the theater and the mall.
Yeah, it's beautiful. A place that you can go fishing. They stock it with rainbow trout. And
how many trout did we see yesterday?
Oh, we saw a lot of trout. It was they were playing in the little jetty streams, and
there must have been 30 trout in there.
And they were big. Big.
Yeah. I know where I'm going to go fishing here pretty soon.
Yeah. Me too. I looked for my fishing pole. I couldn't find it.
Well, I have two.
Yeah, you told me that. I don't know what I did with it. Remember my little one that I had?
Yeah.
I don't know what I did with it. If I gave it to someone out there, let me know, because this old brain. When I went on the road, I went directly to South Dakota and established residency in South Dakota. And I think Max did the same thing.
I did. I still am South Dakota, and I'm going to change eventually. About a year from now, I'll come to Arizona.
Right. And so for the first 2 years, I would go back and forth to South Dakota, where I set up my medical, along with a mail forwarding address. And I decided that I spent more time down in the Southwest than I did up north in the Northwest. So I moved my residency to Arizona, and I voted here for the first time a couple of weeks ago by mail. That was a cool experience. First time I'd ever done it. Max said that he might change his residence to Arizona because he also spends a lot of time in this neck of the woods.
But I'm all paid up for my mail forwarding and my postage account in South Dakota for about another year. And then I'll be 6 months from my driver's license expiring. And I will just move everything down here. I have a mail forwarding service in Quartzsite. BCM,
Uh-huh.
which provides a legal
Me too.
address.
Yeah, same
A
thing.
lot of people need a legal address for their pension, their medical care,
That's
and
why.
it's considered a home because it has a street address.
Hmm.
It's not a post office box number. Like Amazon won't send to a post office box number.
Right.
So that they will send to my mail forwarding service,
Mhm.
BCM,
Mine too.
in Quartzsite, which is only 80 miles from here.
Right.
And I go to Lake Havasu City a lot, which is 65 miles north of Quartzsite. So my mail service is right in between my bulk of my travels for 7 months of the year.
And you can also use general delivery wherever you go.
And Amazon drop boxes.
And Amazon or counter service. I found out about that recently
Yeah,
too.
I use general delivery a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yuma, Lake Havasu City, Flagstaff. So that's one of my main.
And it's not all post offices accept general delivery, but the bulk do. And I have not had any problems with that at all. It's so easy.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's about it. If we missed anything, put it down in the comment section and we'll be happy to answer it for you.
Well, thank you,
Thank
Susan.
you. Thank you.
You are awesome.
And so are you. Mutual Admiration Society here. Yeah. Bye, y'all.